Welcome everyone to Hatfield Marine Science Center. I'm Belinda Batten, Interim Executive Director, and I'm so pleased that you're joining us today to celebrate the installation of the blue whale, which is a project that began over 10 years ago when the whale washed ashore on the Oregon coast. And thank you for your patience. We're a little bit late in starting. There's been such a wonderful crowd come that we've got some overflow, and so trying to get everybody in a place that they can listen to the comments and participate. Hatfield Marine Science Center is a nationally and globally renowned center of excellence for marine research and touches every discipline related to the ocean. Hatfield is a unique collaborative of OSU faculty and students working side by side with scientists from NOAA, EPA, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, USDA, and Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. Tremendously positive impacts come from this unique place of collaboration. Among our signature centers of excellence at Hatfield is the Marine Mammal Institute, composed of 11 professors and laboratories from complementary disciplines that work in all the oceans of the world. They are united by a focus on marine mammals, and we come today to celebrate a project they have worked on for over a decade and that you see outside on the plaza. I think almost everybody's gone out to see it, and if you haven't, you'll have a chance to do so. I would specifically like to thank Dr. Lisa Ballance and Dr. Bruce Mate, current and previous directors of the Marine Mammal Institute, without whom this installation would not have happened. Before I turn the microphone over to Lisa for the rest of the program, I want to welcome and recognize a few folks in the audience. From OSU and OSU Foundation current and past leadership, I welcome Bob Cowan, the former executive director of the Hatfield Marine Science Center, under whose leadership HMSC underwent tremendous growth. I welcome the Dean of the College of Agricultural Sciences, Stacy Simonich, the college in which the Marine Mammal Institute resides. I welcome Vice President for Research and Innovation, Irem Toomer, a strong champion for Hatfield and the research we do here. I welcome former OSU Foundation President Mike Goodwin and former OSU President Ed Ray, who together transformed the face of OSU through their vision and execution. President Ray's vision for the magnificent building we are in today, backed by President Goodwin's fundraising leadership, was critical to making it a reality. And I welcome the new chair of OSU's Board of Trustees, Carla Chambers. I also want to welcome and give a shout out to Oregon Representative David Gomberg, who in his newsletter this week highlighted today's celebration and provided an excellent overview of the project. And now I turn the microphone over to Dr. Lisa Ballance. Lisa.
Welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to see you all here in person. Blue whales are the largest animals ever to have lived on the planet. They're larger even than the largest of dinosaurs. They can reach their immense size because they live entirely in the water. Buoyant forces release them and all marine animals from the need for weight-bearing limbs, and that water allows them to reach their remarkable size. The animal that we have outside is 70 feet long and lived in waters offshore of Oregon. Antarctic blue whales are the largest of the blue whales, and they are 1/3 again larger than our animal outside. Blue whales feed almost exclusively on small shrimp-like creatures collectively called krill. Blue whales engulf entire patches of krill in a single gulp. This is one reason why their mouth is almost 1/3 of the length of their body. And they engulf the water too, more than their entire weight in a single gulp. but the water escapes as they close their mouths and the krill remains. Like all of the great whales, blue whales feed in high latitudes during the summer when day length is long. Lots of sun causes a summer increase in primary productivity. Those are the plants of the sea. And that productivity cascades up the food chain, so marine predators move towards the poles in summer to gorge on all of this food. In winter, when days are shorter and darker, primary productivity goes down, and so does the abundance of marine animals, including predators. Winter is when blue whales leave high latitudes and migrate to the subtropics to give birth to their calves and reproduce. We believe blue whales fast during this reproductive period. Why they migrate at all remains an unanswered question. Blue whales and all whales, dolphins and porpoises, all of them evolved from small fox-like creatures that lived on land some 50 million years ago, about 15 million years after non-avian dinosaurs went extinct. This evolution of whales from terrestrial ancestors is well documented in the fossil record, and it is remarkable given that blue whales are so supremely adapted to life in water. We can see evidence of their terrestrial ancestry even today in many ways, including their skeletons. And I invite you to read our skeleton sign outside and see this for yourself. Blue whales were driven almost to extinction during industrial whaling. They were the first of the whales to be targeted because of their great size. Today, blue whales are protected globally under international treaties, and they're classified as endangered. Still, most populations of blue whales remain critically low around the world. That is not the case for the California current waters off of the US West Coast, including waters off of Oregon. Blue whales can regularly be seen in the summer, not far offshore of Oregon, especially in hot spots off our southern coast, a real recovery success story. Today, we celebrate our new blue whale exhibit and the legacy it leaves, and more about that legacy later. I'm often asked, does this blue whale have a name? No, at least for now. But this blue whale has an identity. We know it was a male. We know he was an adult. We know he was a part of the Eastern North Pacific stock of blue whales that are recognized through our U.S. Marine Mammal Protection Act, that he was almost certainly born well south of here in the eastern or central subtropical Pacific, and that he was likely a regular visitor to waters off of Oregon in the summer where he fed. And we know something about the last days before his death. The story of this blue whale exhibit began just after this animal's death, when he was reported floating in the water by a Coast Guard helicopter on a routine flight half a mile offshore of Ophir Beach. That's just north of the Rogue River mouth. I'm going to let the principal players of this exhibit take it from here and tell you their piece of the story in chronological order of events. And I will begin with Dr. Bruce Mate, the founder of the Marine Mammal Institute.
Thank you, and thank you, Rhonda, for the pinniped welcome. See, you don't need to see people to know what's going on when you're around them a lot. Well, I'm going to go through 5 minutes, so it's going to be a quick march. And I just need to check and make sure we're on the same page. This is how I first met blue whales at sea. And thank you to Flip Nicklin from National Geographic for a lot of the photos I'll use today. This is what we have had at the Marine Science Center to represent whale skeletons until now. This is a minke whale that you'd see at the entrance to the Gwynn Library. And this was prepared by Jim Harvey, who at the time was a graduate student of mine. And we've had it for over 35 maybe 40 years now. Jim, when he finished with his PhD here, went on and became director of the Moss Landing Marine Labs in California, was responsible for dozens and dozens of students getting educated in marine science. This is what we found on the beach. And whoops, advance. Now, I'll just warn you that there are going to be some of you may find gruesome photographs. If you're sensitive to it, just close your eyes and I'll tell you when we're done with that, okay? But for those of us, my wife would say when I'd been out to do a necropsy, go in the backyard, strip off all your clothes, I'm throwing them out. Yeah. Well, so this was a huge project, obviously, and a great thank you to Jim Rice, who'll be the next speaker, who will tell you about the necropsy. And he and I together led about 20 students and local volunteers and interested folks to help for 10 days of stripping off all the blubber and the muscle so that the bones could be preserved. And if you look, that is Jim doing his job in hip boots. Yeah. And here, these are the throat grooves, and Lisa did a great job talking about how blue whales feed. When they fill their gular pouch, it's 4 times the volume of what you see as a head out there easily. She covered a lot of good stuff there. I get to move forward even faster. Here are 2 students from OSU who came down to help us, and they are poised under the shadow of half of the fluke. And that's another dimension to the animal out there that you don't see, is the extension of the area that doesn't have bones in it, so that's even bigger than what you see. The bones were stored in Curry County for many months, and when we got down to this time, we got help from local folks with equipment to help us get it off the beach. And we put it in a waste management container and put it out in the boonies in one of the state parks. It had a lock on it, but it was to encourage small critters, shall we say, and insects to go in and do a job of helping us clean those. So those critters didn't do nearly as good a job as we'd have liked. We brought the bones back here to Newport, and these are the 16-foot long lower jaw bones on a boat trailer, okay? And I was bringing these back one night from Curry County behind a 3/4 ton pickup truck that had also more bones in it. And Humbug Mountain is south of Port Orford. And when you're on the east side of that at midnight, like I was, you're all by yourself, except for the deer that jumped out in front of me. And my instinct was to swerve, and I totaled the truck. It was over half an hour before the next person came along. And I'm sure when I was out there going like this, they thought twice about it, but they stopped. Yeah, so when we got it back here, ultimately, there's Jim up top on this animal. The bones looked, this is actually after they'd been into the, pardon? Oh, I thought I was supposed to get them into the bay where, holy smokes.
One more. That's your last one.
Oh. I've been edited down. Well, I know my place. I'll just say that we got them into the water and nets and sunk them here in Yaquina Bay so that the little critters here could do their work. And after 3 years, we brought them up. And do I have permission to say one more word? I want to thank so many of you in this room, friends, donors, significant folks in my life for the support you've given the Marine Mammal Institute and how much this means to me to see you here today to celebrate this together. Thank you.
I think this is the only slide that pertains to me. Is that right? Okay. Thank you for the introduction, Bruce, and getting us started here. I want to mention that when I got word about this whale, by the way, I'm Jim Rice. I'm the Marine Mammal Stranding Coordinator with the Marine Mammal Institute. I receive upwards of 1,500, 2,000 calls a year about stranded marine mammals on the Oregon coast. And on the day that this animal was reported to me by the Coast Guard helicopter, I was anticipating a whale coming ashore the next day, and it did. It came ashore on a Monday morning, November 2nd, 2015. And Bruce had given me standing orders to let him know if there was a dead whale on the beach, because he wanted to work with a group of engineering students at OSU in developing new tag attachment techniques. And I understood that Bruce would be eager to have his group who are developing tags to go on whales to do telemetry and to understand the movements of the whales, that the interest would be primarily to do the engineering work. And I thought I was doing my part to pass on the information. I thought I was going to go down myself and collect a few samples of the whale, and the whale would be buried, which typically is what happens when there's a dead whale on the beach. But Bruce had other ideas. He said, "It's a blue whale?" I said, "Yes, as far as we understand, it's a blue whale." He's like, "We need to get the skeleton." He said, "Do you know what it would take to do that?" I said, "Well, it would take lots of people. It would take an excavator, large, heavy equipment on the beach, and time." And he said, "Well, I think we need to do it. Let me make some phone calls." And he got back to me about 10 minutes later, and he said, "I think I have about $10,000 lined up for starter money. So I think we need to make plans to head down there." So that's what I did. I packed a knapsack, basically. I thought I was going to spend a couple days down there. And we had the wonderful work of the folks in the Marine Mammal Institute office, making lots of calls with Bruce and recruiting people from far and wide to come help us get this whale skeleton off the beach. And so many people jumped up, young students, just so enthusiastic. They had never seen a large whale before. They wanted to jump at this opportunity to get down there. And I remember having been at Gold Beach for a day or so, doing some preliminary things, taking measurements and photographs and some initial samples of the whale. Some of these students showed up and they had their brand new beaver gear on, their brand new t-shirts, white tennis shoes. They had no idea what they were in for. And I remember after the first day of them cutting the whale, they were filthy and they knew that they're going to have to throw out these beautiful new clothes they had just purchased. And they didn't seem to care because they had this wonderful experience of working with one of the largest whales, one of the largest animals ever on Earth. And it was a life-changing moment for each of them, I'm sure. And Bruce was able to coalesce people together to gather us. We would also get together over the course of time. We were on the beach more or less for about 9 days. Some of these people were only there for a couple days at a time, if that. Some people could only make it a day or so. But by and large, we would repeat the same process every morning. We would get up, have breakfast at a wonderful cafe in Gold Beach, have a hearty breakfast because it wouldn't be until night that we could have another meal. We would work hard all day. We maybe had some snacks and water breaks on the beach. And then we'd be done. The sun would go down. We'd lose our daylight. We'd have to get off the beach, go back to where we were staying. We had a motel room, a number of motel rooms, I should say, a block of them. And then we would retreat to a pizza restaurant for dinner. And Bruce would regale people with stories about whale research. And you could just see the faces of the students lighting up, hearing Bruce talking about all the fantastic experiences and adventures he had in his career. And that process just went on and on day after day. And it got to a point where it felt like the movie Groundhog Day to me, if you're familiar with that. I would wake up in the morning just before dawn and get ready and know we were going to repeat the same process. Work all day, have pizza at night, rinse and repeat the next morning. So it was a long, long week, but it seemed to go by quickly because we were so busy and working so hard. I do remember when we were all said and done, we got the bones off the beach. Bruce did get in his truck and head off with the bones, and there was actually a very dark cloud over the sky. I don't know if you remember, but we had thunderstorms and hail that were coming down at that point. And I was worried, frankly, that you were driving alone, in that weather, in darkness. And then I heard the sirens from the motel room, and it was a horrible couple hours knowing that there had been an accident, and I didn't know what the situation was. Later, I found out Bruce had been involved in the accident, and fortunately, he was not seriously injured. And I think he feels okay about everything now. Yeah, no lasting effects. Mary Lou hopefully can back that up. But it was a wonderful experience, and I also have to say, we got the bones back. They were not in the best of shape. They were, in many cases, shattered. And I had the sense that we had just recovered the pieces of Humpty Dumpty, and whether we would have the means to put them back together again was really a big open question in my mind. I honestly did not think this day would ever happen, where we would have a beautiful articulated skeleton on display here. And it's just a testament to the support of the community, all the fabulous donors, and of course the work of Frank Hatfield and his group, Dinosaur Valley Studios, putting this all together. So it's been a wonderful experience, and it's remarkable to me that it's all come to fruition as it has. So I think that's about all I have to say. Be happy to answer questions later. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm next in the story. I began my position here as director of the Marine Mammal Institute in October of 2019. That was 1 month before the bags of bones that were soaking in Yaquina Bay for cleaning were raised. So this is a project that I inherited, and it was immediately filled with challenges. Where do we put these bones? They are certainly much cleaner than they were when they were lowered 3.5 years ago. But nonetheless, those bones were pretty slimy and pretty smelly. Bruce had a small army of private citizens from the community, and they were eager to donate their time and expertise to further clean the bones and take this project all the way to the end. A retired physician who's in the audience in the back had stepped up to lead this Herculean effort, and I will be forever indebted to these people for their passion, their generosity, and their commitment. We found a generous landowner willing to let us store the bones on his property while we worked out how to clean them. Transporting those bones there was a huge task in itself. And it was then that the magnitude and complexity of cleaning the bones effectively and without damage to the bones, to the people working on them, that began to set in. I rolled this over and over in my brain. I knew enough about whale bones to know there are wrong ways of cleaning them. And I knew enough to know that it could be risky. And increasingly, I knew we needed a professional. So we put bids out for the project, and among those who bid was an easygoing and deceptively down-to-earth individual. I call this deceptive because he really knows his stuff, who mostly worked with fossilized dinosaurs. He had actually contacted Bruce when publicity about this project began to get around, and he contacted me shortly after I began my position here. It would take another 3 years for Dinosaur Valley Studios to win the bid and partner with us in 2023. And more from Frank in a minute. Even after partnering with DVS, as we began to call them, there were challenges. Navigating the complexities associated with multiple teams and critical project pieces, which needed to come together with little to no margin for error. Deliberating on the pose of the animal. How great should the role of the animal be? How high off the ground? How to breathe life into a skeleton? We needed permits to work with and transport bones of an endangered species, permits to construct the exhibit on university property, expertise to engineer and construct the support poles for the skeleton and meet safety standards, and we needed funds to pay for the project, and we found out through time to pay for unanticipated developments. Even now, after the last bone has been set in place, I'm stressing about maintaining the exhibit and providing repairs when needed. Newport weather is very hard on steel and bone. But I'm getting ahead of the story. Frank, I want to turn it over to you and then to Dawn to bring this story to a close.
Hi, everyone. My name is Frank Hatfield. I'm with Dinosaur Valley Studios in Alberta, Canada. And Alberta, for anyone who doesn't know, is one of 2 landlocked provinces in Canada. So, of course, we're specialists in whales. So, yeah, dinosaurs was primarily what we were working on before, but we have worked on several cetaceans as well, most of them on the East Coast in Newfoundland. But it was kind of a lucky twist of fate. My name is Hadfield with a D, so there's no nepotism here. Just, but I had recently returned from a memorial for my uncle Charlie Hadfield, who was quite a prominent mechanic and engineer for Air Canada. He was the lead mechanic for the national airline. So I thought I'd do a Zoom or Google search on him to see if I could find any more information on the guy and all this stuff, right? So I didn't find any more information on my Uncle Charlie, but Hatfield Marine popped up. Hey, they're soaking bones in Yaquina Bay. So long story short, that's how we started this whole process. So I'm going to talk about the bone conservation and the articulation of this thing and just move right through it. But when we came down to pick up the bones, of course, they still contained a lot of oils within them. So we were charged with removal of a lot of the connective tissue that was left on the bones and the oil throughout almost all of the bone. So that was a lengthy process that involved primarily maceration in warm water. We didn't want to use a lot of chemicals in the process just to not to risk any more damage to the bones. The lower jaws that you see out there, which are the largest single skeletal elements to ever evolve in an animal, we had to specially build a tank to hold them because there were no tanks long enough to fit these 18-foot bones in. So, and that's common in what we do. We have to build a lot of the equipment that we use to maneuver these large bones around. So after we had purged most of the oil out, the final soak was in hydrogen peroxide, about a 6% solution. And that was just to disinfect and kind of brighten up the look of the bones. The other thing that hopefully a lot of people don't recognize, but I'll let the cat out of the bag, is that the whole cranial vault is replicated. We determined that it was just too banged up to try and restore the original one. It would be too costly. And that entire skull out there, including the steel structure that's inside of it, only weighs 350 pounds. The original probably would weigh close to 2 tons, even after cleaning. So it saved us a lot of engineering and that planning and that. And I think we did a pretty good job of, you know, fooling you from 6 feet sort of thing, right? The replication of that was highly technical, and I had next to nothing to do with it. We have some young guys at our studio there that are very good with setting up the STL files, the high resolution scan data that we got from another specimen, and putting in the tool path for our CNC machine. Means computerized numerical carving. It's just a computer controlled router. So we can only carve sections up to 3 inches at a time. So it was like a CAT scan sort of, that we sliced it up on the computer and then carved all of these different layers and then glued them all together. Very technical and lengthy process. And we also had to allow for the internal structure of the steel to go in there to support everything. So once all that was done and we had everything glued together in the EPS foam, Then we coated it in polyurea, more commonly known as Linex or the truck bed liner. Very tough, robust stuff. So we did that, primed it, painted it, and there we have it. I forgot as well, I thought we only had one vertebra that was CNC replicated. We missed one on the way down. But Barb Lagerquist, who I'd just like to give a shout out to. Yeah, like Barb is amazing, as we all know. She reminded me, yeah, there's another rib that's completely replicated as well. So if you can spot them, power to you. I forget, so I can't remember where they are. The last thing is the support armature. It's all steel construction. In talking with Lisa and the whole team, we wanted to have something that was represented the living animal, so more of a dynamic pose, and you'll see how we've got it tilted out there. Most of the axial skeleton, the vertebral column, you can just lift the bones off. There's no pins or screws or anything like that retaining them. And it looks so far that they're standing up to the wind. So hopefully it stays that way. The appendicular skeleton, so all of the flippers and all that, we decided to put a simple 1-bolt retaining clip on most of the elements there. You can see all of the little finger bones and things like that. They have their own little clips on them to retain them because they would just blow out, right? And due to the dynamic pose, we felt safer just to have these retaining clips in place. So hopefully they're not overly noticeable and that, but just for safety reasons, we put them in too. And yeah, that's kind of unique, especially for an outdoor display specimen. The other option was an internal mount of all the steel, but that would involve drilling holes through all the bones and kind of an invasive process. We've done that with other specimens, but I really like this style of mount. And yeah, over the years, we'll see. We're hopeful that it's going to stand up to Oregon weather. I'm from Canada, so it's not so bad down here, just to let you know. So it's a good excuse to come down and see some greenery in the winter and check on it. But anyway, that's how we did it. And if anyone wants to approach me later and talk about it, I'm more than happy to answer questions.
And I'll turn it over to Dawn for the last piece of the puzzle.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Okay, great. I'm Don Ferris, Valor Engineering. We do structural and construction. So there's Valor Structural, Valor Construction. I mean, structural and construction, yes. So Norm, pictured here, he's the owner. He couldn't be here today, so he's giving me a list of things to identify here. So I just want to share it with you. So my role, myself, I did the 3D modeling and the permit documentation to get it through the city, to get it permitted, because we couldn't do this without that. Now, Valor has had a long-standing relationship with OSU. We've done the some work at Research Stadium and also here at the pump house right here, just down the road. Let's see. So we were involved in the design all the way through construction of this project, which was nice to see it through from drawings, which you see up here, 3D modeling, all the documentation. So let's see. So we worked through multiple iterations of the project, different poses, different torsional, looks, the diving, the, swooping, whatever you want to call it. And it was interesting because every little move would trigger some structural adjustments that we would have to, adjust to. So let's see. So the exhibit is exposed to, like Frank mentioned, the high winds. So we designed it up to 135 miles per hour. So worst case scenario, hopefully we never see it, but and everything will stay intact. But it was designed in a way that it would allow for, flexing of the structure where the bones would still be attached and that there, allows enough flex, which is very critical and for public safety too. Let's see. So the steel frame itself was designed in collaboration with Frank, and how we attach the, all the, I don't know, all the technical terms, but all the bones and the vertebrae and everything. So our job was to do the primary structure, which was the 3 large concrete footings, the 3 large steel posts, and the horizontal, I wouldn't call that piece either, but the big curvy thing. So, yeah, right. So we established all the welds, all the bolted connections, and in order for it to get transported down, we had to do a gas flange to attach the horizontal pieces together, as something that long just doesn't fit in a truck. So, let's see. And so, we talked about, I think the entire skeleton is 5,500 pounds, I believe. So it's, yeah, the bones themselves. So it's very top heavy. And so you have a lot of movement, but the structure is very stout. So the concrete footings that are in there, it's about 1,000 cubic feet of concrete. So it's pretty massive, but for 3 posts that you would imagine. So, and the permitting was interesting. The calls to the cities, they were pretty happy about the project. So it was one of those things that, it's always good to hear when you're bringing something into somebody's backyard and they're excited about it, especially when they approve the documents. So, and so the last thing is the construction challenges we had is just having an occupied building with, a public safety thing, but with all the regrading, we also had to create a 10-foot, I don't know if you can see it there, probably not. We have to make sure there's at least a minimum of 10 feet, so nobody could jump on it, climb on it, or reach it, unless you're really, really, really tall. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody here and everybody involved in the project. It's an honor to be here, and thank you.
So that's a short story of the past 10 and a half years that produced the exhibit we're celebrating today. I've been asked, how did you overcome the challenges you faced? And my answer in a nutshell, profound belief in our vision and hope that this exhibit would be impactful beyond our wildest dreams. And now that he's complete, I believe the wonder, inspiration, and commitment that this whale may spark might represent one of the most significant achievements of my career. I will ask you now to watch that story with me, told through this 5-minute video, and Miguel, I'll ask you to bring the lights down.
The Blue Whale Skeleton Project is our vision to take the skeleton of a blue whale that washed ashore dead on a beach in southern Oregon back in 2015 and reconstruct that skeleton in its entirety here at Hatfield Marine Science Center. I've never met anyone who is not enraptured by marine mammals. They're wondrous, inspiring creatures. But as scientists, we realize that they are also bellwethers of the world's oceans. We call them integrators of marine ecosystems. So by assessing what's going on with marine mammals, we can get a glimpse into the status and the health of that marine ecosystem of which those marine mammals are a part.
I got the call on a Sunday night, and I knew Bruce was interested in large whales and applying telemetry tags to them, so I let him know about the whale.
I knew that blue whales were extremely rare on shore, especially in Oregon. We went down with the anticipation of doing a necropsy for sure to look at the causes of death for the animal.
So we knew that the whale had been attacked while it was still alive by killer whales. It had been scavenged by sharks after it had died. And we also eventually realized that the skull had been fractured and we suspect that may have been from a collision with a large ship. And he asked for any and all students to drop what they were doing and make their way down to Gold Beach as quickly as possible.
Those folks really helped us get the job done. And for a lot of them, it was a gee whiz moment because, of course, none of them had been close to a blue whale.
The project would not have happened without a small army of volunteers.
We wound up bringing the bones up to Newport and putting them in Yaquina Bay, right in front of the Marine Science Center in netted bags so that they could be further cleaned by the critters down on the bottom.
My name is Frank Hatfield, and I'm the president of Dinosaur Valley Studios. 3 years ago, we came down, collected the bones, took them back to our studios in Alberta, and that's where we worked on the conservation of them and the design and fabrication of the support armature that will hold the bones in place. Just the matter of dealing with such large bones and logistics of moving them around safely, especially again the lower jaws, which weigh in excess of 600 pounds each. It's a bit surreal after 3 years. It's kind of like we're actually putting it up now, right? A little nerve-wracking. I'll be happy when everything's in place and it's done and we can sit back and take it in. They're going to see the skeleton of a blue whale, the largest creature that ever lived on Earth.
So there are a lot of stories that this blue whale can teach us about this individual, about blue whales in general, about how humans impact marine ecosystems.
I think this animal is going to be awe-inspiring. I don't think most people are aware of the size, but it is an awesome animal. So I think a lot of kids especially will be awestruck.
There's a giant whale!
Many, as you saw, contributed to the reconstruction of this magnificent blue whale skeleton through gifts of time, expertise, and funds. All of these individuals helped to give this whale a second life as an ambassador of the oceans. I want to explicitly acknowledge 6 individuals, families, and businesses for their leadership and generosity, whose gifts of $50,000 or more made this project possible. These people have left a legacy that will inspire generations to come. And who knows what those people will make possible. What a legacy indeed. So I'd like to bring the lights up, and I would like these 6 individuals to please stand as I read your name, remain standing, and receive our profound thanks. Mom. Vilma Taylor Ballance. Bonnie Broad. This is somewhere. Frank, Dinosaur Valley Studios. The LeBeck family, Brent and Elaine. Joan Martin, who is not here with us but contributed mightily. And Valar Consulting Engineering and Valar Construction. So as I mentioned earlier, our whale will continue to need some care and feeding. If he inspires you and if you have the ability to contribute, if you wish to join this group, please consider donating. The postcards in the lobby and alongside the signs on our whale will tell you how. No amount is too small. Every contribution makes a difference. Okay, let's bring the lights back down a little bit, Miguel. All right, I will leave you with some closing thoughts. To me, this blue whale, he symbolizes a lot. He's a source of inspiration for the legacy he creates through his influence on all who come to see him here. He's a source of mystery for all that we don't know about blue whales and the oceans in which they live. He is a source of hope for the recovery of this population from devastating industrial whaling. And he's a subtle reminder of the impacts we have on the oceans and the animals within. His skull was likely crushed from a ship strike. That's a threat to whales worldwide. Like so many threats whales face as a result of our use of the oceans, the impact is accidental. We don't intend to harm whales with our activities. Nevertheless, the harm is real, and finding solutions is not easy. I firmly believe that those solutions require the collective whole, and so I want to close with today's celebration and my optimism that comes from the collective whole that all of you in this room represent. I am so pleased and honored to welcome representatives of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians here. On behalf of Oregon State University and the Marine Mammal Institute, thank you for joining us as we celebrate this remarkable blue whale and the education, discovery, and stewardship it inspires. I am so pleased and honored to welcome political representatives from around the state. Belinda mentioned Representative David Gomberg of District 10, a longtime friend of and advocate for Hatfield and our Marine Mammal Institute. I would like to also add Senator David Brock Smith to that list of District 1. He played a key role in facilitating the transport of our salvaged whale bones from Ophir Beach up to Yaquina Bay. I am so pleased and honored to have with us and to welcome members and leaders of the commercial fishing industry here in Newport. This includes Bob Etter, who accepted my invitation explicitly to, and I quote, establish a closer connection with the commercial fishing industry here in Newport. I firmly believe that this world can benefit from more open dialogue, especially in the context of challenging problems. And Bob, the conversation you and I had some months ago, it was an important beginning for me. Thank you. I am pleased and honored to have OSU leadership here with us, including former President Ed Ray, my Dean of the College of Agricultural Sciences, Stacy Simonich, and Irem Toomer, Vice President for Research and Innovation. I'm thrilled to welcome community members, business owners, blue-collar workers, retirees, all who love and need the ocean. And a special welcome to new and longtime supporters of our Marine Mammal Institute and of Hatfield Marine Science Center. I'm thrilled to be surrounded by scientists, research staff, and students here at Hatfield, and we are finding that the big challenges the ocean faces, those challenges are best solved by collections of people with perspectives broad and deep in scope. So I want to close with a message to all of you here in this room. Your diverse perspectives, experience, and engagement bring great strength, and they bring me great optimism, which is what this whale symbolizes to me as well. Especially when we come together as we are here, we are strong. Whales in the oceans need us all now more than ever. Thank you. I'm not quite done speaking yet. Miguel, would you bring the lights up and open the curtain, please? Okay, so I'd like to ask you all to join me and our project principals and each other in the courtyard to view our whale again. On the way out, grab a special whale cookie and ocean blue lemonade, which is out through the door here. This lemonade is blue because it contains blue spirulina. That's a natural extract from blue-green algae that is found in marine and freshwater environments. It has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It's a source of protein, vitamins, minerals, and healthy omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. And it's vegan. So not only is it beautiful, it's good for you. And 2 more public events today. First, blue whale calls in real time begin outside at 12:45, courtesy of Dr. Kate Stafford and Dr. Bob Ziak. Blue whales use extremely low frequency sounds to communicate, lower even than human hearing. And the sounds they make are loud. They are among the loudest sounds in the animal kingdom, and they're long. Some of their sounds can last for over 20 seconds. Imagine an opera singer holding a note for that long. What you will hear in the courtyard are D calls, which we believe may be feeding calls, and Northeast Pacific stock song. You are actually likely to feel these sounds reverberate through your body almost more than you will hear them. It is an extraordinary experience, so I encourage you all to enjoy it. But some of you may not wish to have your bodies reverberate with sound. So if you don't want that, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to go somewhere else. And the second public event that is yet to come is our Hatfield Science Seminar, which will begin at 3:30 right here. Come early at 3 for cookies, tea, and coffee right outside. And in the space of time in between these events, pick up a family-friendly clue-directed quest from Oregon Sea Grant to find the other whale bones around Hatfield. This is a great kid event. And also explore the marine mammal skeleton collection at Hatfield Visitor Center, just right down that way, which is open until 5 p.m. today. Again, thank you all for joining us and for making this exhibit possible.